Iran names Khamenei's son new supreme leader.
Nghe An Chairman inspects preparations for upcoming elections.
Fuel price fluctuations put pressure on living costs and production.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news by Nghệ An Press and Broadcasting Agency. I'm Hoàng Yến, and here we go, the first headline of the show. Iranian media report that the Assembly of Experts has chosen Mojtaba Khamenei as a new supreme leader, replacing his father Ali Khamenei, who was killed in airstrikes late last month.
According to Iran's state media, the Assembly of Experts, the clerical body responsible for selecting the country's supreme leader, approved the appointment of the 56-year-old Mojtaba Khamenei. For years, he has been regarded as an influential figure within Iran's power structure. Despite never holding elected office, however, this decision could escalate tensions, as U.S. President Donald Trump had previously described him as an unacceptable choice. The appointment comes as fighting remains intense. Israeli air forces have struck multiple Iranian military, energy and aerospace facilities, while Tehran continues retaliatory attacks using missiles and drones targeting several locations in Israel.
On March 8th, U.S. President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer held a phone call to discuss the latest developments in the Middle East conflict, as the U.S. and Israel's airstrike campaign against Iran enter its second week.
They have two problems: immigration.
According to an
and
official
energy.
statement, the two leaders discussed the current situation and military cooperation between the two countries. This includes the possible use of Royal Air Force bases to support joint defense operations for partners in the region. The call came after President Trump publicly criticized London for not directly taking part in U.S. airstrikes on Iran. After the initial disagreement, the UK allowed the United States to use the Diego Garcia military base for military operations. British media also report that the aircraft carrier HMS Prince of Wales is being prepared for deployment to the Persian Gulf, while the UK government is also considering sending additional naval forces to the region.
Today, Deputy Secretary of Nghệ An Provincial Party Committee and the Chairman of Nghệ An People's Committee Võ Trọng Hải just expected, and preparations for the election of deputies to 16th National Assembly and the People's Councils at two levels for the 2026-2031 term in several polling stations in Cư Lâu Ward, Hai Lộc Camille, Phu Lộc Camille, and Vạn Kiều Camille.
In Cư Lâu Ward, Nghệ, the delegation inspected 4 polling stations. According to local authorities, the ward plans to establish 39 polling stations, including those serving voters from Mat Island, Nghệ and Ngu Island. Nghệ. Preparations for the election are being carried out on schedule. Voter lists and summaries of candidates' biographies have been publicly posted at polling sites to allow residents to review the information. The delegation also inspected polling station number 17 in Nam Thang Hamlet, Hai Lộc Commune, Nghệ, before continuing to polling locations in Phuc Lộc Commune, Nghệ, which has 16 polling stations. Meanwhile, Van Kieu Commune, Nghệ has 7 electoral units with a total of 14 polling stations. Local communities are currently reviewing voter lists and preparing facilities in accordance with election regulations. During the inspection, Chairman Võ Trọng Hải acknowledged the proactive efforts of local authorities in implementing election-related tasks. Cư Lâu Ward, Nghệ was noted for its strong progress, with several key preparations already completed. He also urged localities to continue reviewing and updating voter information, particularly for fishermen who frequently work at sea and residents working away from home. In order to ensure citizens' voting rights, authorities were also asked to strengthen public communication so that people fully exercise their civic rights and responsibilities, helping ensure Election Day truly becomes a nationwide festival of democracy.
Upcoming are some updated news.
Under the current roadmap, E10 gasoline, a blend of bioethanol and traditional fuel for gasoline engines, is scheduled to be applied nationwide starting June 1st. However, speaking on March 9th at a conference on implementing the new phase of biofuel blending with conventional fuels, Nguyen Shine in Hat Tan, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnam, emphasized that the deployment of E10 biofuel should be accelerated as soon as possible. At the conference, he noted that Vietnam has developed a roadmap for biofuel development for many years. However, recent volatility in the global energy market highlights the need to speed up implementation. The ministry is expected to conduct initial inspections at petroleum trading enterprises in March to assess their preparedness and capacity to implement the biofuel blending roadmap in the market.
Air travel from Vietnam to Europe is facing disruptions, with ticket prices rising sharply and availability becoming increasingly limited. The situation is linked to escalating tensions in the Middle East, which have affected several international flight routes. According to the Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam, a number of flights operated by international airlines such as Qatar Airways, Emirates, Etihad Airways, and Turkish Airlines have been cancelled or rescheduled. This comes as several countries in the Middle East have closed or restricted their airspace, affecting transit routes to Europe. In response, Vietnam Airlines has proactively adjusted its flight paths to avoid high-risk areas, ensuring the safety of passengers and crew.
Nghe An province is focusing on meeting international recommendations on fisheries management, with investment in fishing port infrastructure and storm shelter anchorages seen as a key solution. In many coastal areas, waterways leading to fishing ports have become silted, forcing vessels to wait for high tide or transfer seafood to smaller boats before reaching shore. This increases costs and reduces fishing efficiency. Meanwhile, new regulations require fishing vessels measuring 15 meters or longer to dock at designated ports in order to monitor catch volumes. To address these challenges, in Nghe An province, Vietnam estimates that about 2.3 trillion Vietnamese dongs will be needed to develop fishing ports and storm shelter anchorages by 2030. The province is proposing central government support while also seeking to mobilize social investment to gradually improve fisheries logistics infrastructure and promote sustainable marine economic development.
Rising tensions in the Middle East are having strong impact on the global energy market. World oil prices have been fluctuating, leading to repeated adjustments in domestic fuel prices. This not only affects the household living costs, but also put the pressure on many production and business sectors. More in the story today.
Rising tensions in the Middle East, a region supplying much of the world's oil, are making the global energy market increasingly sensitive. Concerns over supply disruptions have pushed world oil prices sharply higher in recent weeks. According to the latest price adjustment, domestic fuel prices in Vietnam have also risen significantly.
Before, I spent about 60,000 Vietnamese dongs a day on fuel. Now it has risen to around 80,000 Vietnamese dongs. Even though I work more, the profit isn't higher. The fuel price increase is making my job much more difficult.
Fluctuations in fuel prices not only affect household spending but also directly impact transportation costs and the prices of goods. For transport companies, fuel accounts for around 30 to 40% of operating expenses, meaning every fuel price increase pushes overall costs higher. At the same time, transport fares cannot be adjusted immediately due to existing contracts and market conditions, leading to shrinking profit margins. As a result, many businesses are having to recalculate their operating plans to reduce cost pressures.
When fuel prices rise, companies have to consider adjusting ticket prices. However, that will affect passengers and also increase the company's operating costs.
Experts say fuel prices in the coming period will largely depend on geopolitical developments in the Middle East, as well as global energy supply. Closely monitoring the situation and proactively adapting are seen as key measures to minimize the impact on daily life and production.
The last story just ended our news today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye for now.